Good day everyone. My name is Angelica Talisaysay. Our report is all about forest soil characteristics and its importance. General characteristic of forest soil. Under natural conditions, forest soil have developed over a long period of time under the influence of forest vegetation. Primarily, they evolve through natural succession as coupled components, soil, and vegetation of the specific forest ecosystem. Forest vegetation has profound influence on the genesis of forest soils through their canopy, biomass, litters, and roots. Forest soils, in turn, influence the dynamics of the forest vegetation. Soils and forest vegetation are mutually interdependent variables. Forest soils have some characteristics common to agricultural soils, but they also differ profoundly from them as well. Unless forest soils retain their natural characteristics, while agricultural soils are disturbed soils, and many of their characteristics are modified by soil and crop management practices. Forest soils retain many of their natural properties even long after clearing for cropping. Some some unproductive agricultural soils had been affected. These soils are acquiring some properties typical of forest soil.
Limitations of forest soils. Forest soil have physical and chemical limitation in agricultural standard that help them retain their vegetation and soils of natural state. Physical limitations include extreme texture. Extreme textures include stony, gravelly, sandy, and clayey. Next is extreme moisture. Extreme moisture includes arid, waterlogged, and submerged. Next is steeply sloping and irritable. Chemical limitations include acidity, alkalinity, salinity, sodicity, acid sulfate conditions, and poor fertility. Stony, gravelly, excessive sandy, and stiff clay soils are not suitable for cropping. Such areas have therefore retained their original cover, although some have been distributed by over-exploitation.
Permanent vegetation. As a continuation, most roots of agricultural crops are usually limited to the forest lies, while forestry roots are usually deep and can penetrate some matters, if not if not restricted by a compacted layer of the groundwater table near to the surface. Deep and extensive roots draw water and nutrients from a larger soil volume. They leave lateral and vertical channels that act as a drainage and irrigation routes. Next, these channels also contribute to circulation of materials within the soil. Roots distribute organic matter and nutrients throughout the soil profile. They exude metabolism, they attract microorganisms and their vicinity, and with all this, they weather and extend soil formation to greater depths. Forest soils have more roots, deeper roots, and large roots. Therefore, forest soil have deep and well differentiated soil profile. This is Vanessa, UAP reporter.
Forest floor, or also called detritus, duff, and the horizon, is one of the most distinctive features of forest ecosystem. It mainly consists of shade vegetative parts such as leaf, branches, bark, and stems, existing in various stages of decomposition above the soil surface. The forest floor is the lowest layer where it is dark, hot, and damp. Only 2% of sunlight gets through the thick canopy trees and understory plants to reach the forest floor. Large leafed shrubs and saplings grow in the patches of sunlight. What lives on the forest floor? Decomposers such as termites, slugs, scorpion, worms, and fungi thrive on the forest floor. Organic matter falls from trees and plants, and these organisms break down the decaying material into nutrients. The shallow roots of rainforest trees absorb these nutrients, and dozens of predators consume the decomposer. How high is the forest floor layer? Layers of a rainforest, the tallest trees are the margins, towering as much as 200 feet above the forest floor with trunks that measure up to 16 feet around. Most of these trees are broad-leaved hardwood evergreens. Sunlight is plentiful up here. This is Marifel Dicologan, the reporter.
Forest soils develop under the influence of permanent or semi-permanent vegetation. For example, a natural forest may occupy this space for more than a millennium. On the other hand, forest plantations are usually established for 40 to 50 years for timber plants and 10 to 15 years for fast-growing energy plantations. The occupancy of a land for so long a period by a particular vegetation exerts some effects on it. The vegetations add organic matter and its decay product into the soil, removes water and nutrients for a long period, and adds organic matter and harbor soil's organisms that have tremendous modifying effects on soil fertility and productivity. Undisturbed forests have thick, dense canopy covers, the thickness of which may exceed many meters. These canopy layers act as an umbrella that intercepts solar radiation and rainfall. In ecology, canopy also refers to the upper layer or habitat zone formed by a mature tree crowns. It regulates evapotranspiration and heat transmission. Evapotranspiration is the sum of water evaporation and transpiration from a surface plus transpiration from plants. The typical plants, including found in landscape, absorb water from the soil through its root. Heat transmission is also described as flow of heat due to temperature difference and the subsequent temperature distribution and changes. As a result, microclimate develops in the ground of the forest which is entirely different from adjacent non-forest area. Microclimate exists, for example, near bodies of water which may cool the local atmosphere, or in heavy urban areas where bricks, concrete, and asphalt absorb the sun energy, heat up, and radiate that heat to the ambient air. For the entire surface of the soil and the forest, the air damp and humid. The vegetative covers keeps the soil cooler in the warm season and warm in the cool season than the adjacent cultivated soil. Reporter by Rosalie Ribuyon.
Importance. Soil is important component of forest and woodland ecosystem as it helps regulate important ecosystem processes such as nutrient uptake, decomposition, and water availability. Soil provide trees with anchorage, water, and nutrients. In turn, trees as well as other plants and vegetation are
an important factor in the creation of new soil as leaves and other vegetation and decompose. However, the relationship between soils and forests is much more complex and far-reaching. Soils and forests are intrinsically linked with huge impacts on each other and on the wider environment. Forests and forest soil help to maintain the environmental conditions needed for agricultural production. Forest soil and their interactions carry out key functions that contribute food security and a healthy environment. First, we have climate change. The words forest in one of their many roles act as significant carbon store. Carbon immersion are a major contributor to climate change. Forest soils also store a quantity of carbon equaling that of the global forest biomass about 45% each. In total, forests store as much carbon as the atmosphere. Second, sustainable soil management needs sustainable forest management, including restoration. The planet needs sustainability management forest to control soil erosion and to conserve soil. Trees, roots stabilize range, hill, and mountain slopes and provide the soil with the necessary mechanical and structural support to prevent shallow movement of land mass. Landslide rarely occur in areas with high forest cover. Forest restoration in dryland areas is vital for soil. Sound forest management practice, including measures to introduce or maintain forest cover on erosion-prone soils and runoff pathways, will help control or reduce the risk of soil erosion and shallow landslide. Forest soil characteristic and importance.
So, hi everyone. Hi, ma'am. This is the continuation of Miss Evangeline Otida. Number 3. Major ecosystem benefits of the forest and soil, clean water and watershed management. By reducing soil erosion and the risk of landslide and avalanches, sustainably managed forests contribute significantly to the system, providing and maintaining the planet's supplies of clean water while also ensuring a balanced water cycle. Forests are also a key component of watershed management, an integrated approach using natural resources in a geographical area drained by a water course. So, the use of watershed management is a way to protect and rehabilitate area prone to soil degradation and erosion in an upland areas. Forest and soil characteristics are among the key parameters assessed in watershed management planning. So, moreover, measured to restore and enhance soil fertility is the example is true reforestation. So, true reforestation have many benefits and are therefore an integral part of any watershed management plan. So, number 4. Soil conservation in semi-arid areas start with forests and trees. By helping to prevent soil erosion, forests act as a crucial protector of soil resources, for example, in preventing or reducing salination. The challenge, the challenge in and zone forests is therefore to optimize the trade-off between water yield and soil protection. So the the trees is important to conserve the soil or to 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 avoid the soil degradation. Number 5. Forests can reduce mountain soil sensitivity to degradation. Steep slopes and thin soil make mountain ecosystem extremely vulnerable to erosion. So, mountain soils are often degraded and invariably do not provide enough nutrients for plants to grow well. So, FAO estimates that around 45% of the world's mountain area is not or only marginally suitable for agriculture. So the degradation of mountain soil and vegetation cover may happen gradually or rapidly but often takes many years to repair. In some cases, is it irreversible. The challenges that mountain farmers must overcome are many. So, short vegetation periods, steep slopes, shallow soil, and the occurrence of landslide. So to survive this, they have to develop different ways of averting or spreading risk, employing complex and diversified farming system on cropland, pastures, and forests. They should know that they must make use of different altitudes and at different times of the year. In order to protect our soils, we need to protect the trees and forests. The importance of this effect has often been ignored in the past, with the clearance of tree vegetation and the subsequent loss of millions of hectares of productive land. So as forests continue to be cleared, exposing the land degradation are still undermining agriculture's resource base. In order to protect our soil, we need to protect our trees and forests. Yeah. Both of these vital resources play pivotal role in food security and a healthy environment. And that's all for my report. And thank you. I am Judy Lindy Palban. So have a good day and keep safe, everyone.